If you're a parent, you definitely know the feeling. One second, everything's totally fine, and the next, your child does something. Maybe they throw a tantrum, or they're defiant, or they're just not listening. And suddenly you feel this intense reaction bubble up that just feels way, way bigger than the situation. It's confusing, right? And pretty overwhelming. Okay, so let's get into this because what's really happening is probably not what you think it is. So this right here, this is probably the single most important idea we're going to unpack. Just let this one sink in for a second. It says your child's behavior is rarely the real trigger. Your nervous system is. What this really means is that huge outsized reaction, it isn't actually about what your child is doing in this exact moment. Nope. The real source is your own body's wiring, and it's responding to something much older and much, much deeper.
Now, I want to be super clear about something. This explainer is not about blaming parents, and it's definitely not about labeling kids as difficult. It's really about understanding a hidden psychological connection, a link between how we react as adults and our own experiences as kids, a link that for most of us goes completely unseen.
You know, we tend to think of childhood as this thing we just leave behind. But psychologically, that's not really how it works at all. All those early emotional lessons, what felt safe, what felt dangerous, when we needed to be quiet, they don't just go away. They move in. They literally take up residence inside our adult minds, and they end up shaping our automatic responses long before our logical brain even has a chance to catch up.
So the big question is, why do these reactions feel so massive, so disproportionate and powerful? Well, let's take a look at the actual mechanism of a trigger. See, it's not just an overreaction. It's a very specific psychological phenomenon that we can actually define and, more importantly, understand. Psychologists have this incredible term for it, a time collapse. And it's a fascinating idea. When you get triggered, your nervous system isn't just freaking out about the present. It's actually reacting as if an unresolved event from your past is happening all over again. For a split second, the past and the present just collapse into one single, incredibly intense emotional experience.
So in that flash, you're not entirely in your kitchen in 2024 dealing with some spilled milk. Emotionally, a part of you has been yanked back in time, right back to a moment from your own childhood where you felt a really similar sense of chaos or overwhelm.
In this time collapse, it doesn't just bring back the memory, it brings back the feelings. It often reactivates these old feelings of helplessness or being totally out of control, the same feelings you had when you were small and you depended on others for your safety and for regulation.
Here's a good way to think about it. Your child isn't the cause of that intense emotion. Their behavior is just the key. It's the key that unlocks a very old door to a room full of feelings that got stored away, unprocessed a long time ago. So the most important thing to get is this: the reaction is older than the moment.
And this brings us to that really common frustration that so many parents feel. You know the one. I know how I'm supposed to react, but I can't, right? You've read the books, you know all the strategies, but in the heat of the moment, it all just goes right out the window. Well, this isn't a failure of your willpower, it's just neuroscience.
To really get this, we need to look at two parts of the brain. First, you've got your prefrontal cortex. Think of this as your calm, rational CEO. It handles reasoning, perspective, all that good stuff. But when a trigger hits, that CEO gets knocked completely offline. And that's when the limbic system, your ancient primitive survival brain, hijacks the controls. And it does not care about gentle parenting. All it cares about is ending what it sees as a threat and ending it right now.
So when you feel that intense wave of reaction wash over you, who's really running the show? It's not the calm, logical adult you want to be. It's the part of your brain that's wired for pure survival, and it's acting on lessons it learned decades ago.
And here is where it gets really personal. Your triggers, they are not random. Not at all. They are actually very specific clues that point directly back to the emotional rules of your own childhood. For instance, if you were punished for being messy, a messy child might feel completely unbearable to you. If you were always told to stop crying, your own child's tears might feel like a personal attack. See? Your child is just activating the unwritten rules that you grew up with.
Okay, so now we kind of understand the why, but the real question is, what do we do about it? Well, the path forward isn't about trying to become some perfect parent who never ever gets triggered. It's about something much more achievable, and honestly, a lot more compassionate.
This right here is probably the most important shift in mindset you can make. You don't have to stop the trigger from ever happening again. That's not the goal. The goal is to get better at noticing the pattern as it's happening, just to be able to say to yourself in the moment,
There it is. This feeling, this is older than this moment. That awareness, that's where all your power lies.
So here are 3 really practical, grounded things you can do. First, just internally name what's happening. Okay, this reaction is about me. Second, focus on slowing down your body, not trying to reason with your mind. Your logic is offline, remember? Just take one deep breath, feel your feet on the floor. Triggers live in the body. And third, maybe most importantly, after the storm is past, repair the connection with your child. Apologizing for your reaction teaches them more about emotional safety than never making a mistake ever will.
And really, this is the bottom line. So much of modern parenting focuses on strategies to manage a child's behavior. But the truth is, our ability to help our kids regulate their big emotions depends completely on our ability to regulate our own. Our own neurological state is the foundation for everything else.
Let's just end with this really powerful reframe. Being triggered doesn't mean you're a bad parent, and it doesn't mean your child is difficult. It's a sign. It's a sign that something inside of you is asking to be understood, to be healed. Your child isn't the problem. In a strange way, they're the guide, showing you exactly where the work still needs to be done. And that doesn't make you a failure. It just makes you human.